We are, I have everybody's attention here. We are in the Perakim, in Parak, the end of Parak Gimel, the beginning of Parak Daled. So I apologize for the break. Out of my control, I don't do anything. Should all be healthy. These Perakim are, I just want to repeat, they're written differently in a different style than the rest of the Nefesh Hachaim, and it feels almost less philosophical, if you will, and more polemic. But first of all, I do think that it does catch up on everything that we've said. There's a reason why this is here. But also I think there's a lot of chidushim here philosophically. But given it's largely a polemic against those that disagreed with the Litvish Haderech, it's a good opportunity to understand what the Litvish Haderech is and what are their two drachim here. So in Parak Gimel, what we spent a lot of time on was the Parak Aleph, Parak Beis, and Parak Gimel was the virtue of Torah Shaloi Lishma. So the virtue of Torah Shaloi Lishma, the question is there any virtue in Torah Shaloi Lishma? Let's just understand the question deeply. Don't cop. Hear me out. That we're not doing this. We're not learning Torah or doing mitzvahs because it's good for the world. We're not doing it because we like doing it. We're not doing it because it's a feel-good experience. We're doing it because Hashem said to do it. If Hashem didn't tell me to keep the Torah, I wouldn't keep the Torah. It's Hashem. So let's say somebody's keeping the Torah or learning the Torah not because Hashem said to do it. So welcome to the world of Torah Shaloi Lishma. That's Torah Shaloi Lishma. And it's very easy to argue that there's no virtue to it at all. And not only is there no virtue to it, but it might be a negative. It might be a negative thing, which the Mekubalim are Bayrachan. So comes Chazal and saves the day and says, well, Shaloi Lishma Ba Lishma. Lo'olam yasek adam b'Torah u'be mitzvah Shaloi Lishma sheb'Torah Shaloi Lishma Ba Lishma. Okay, they say for a chiddush of the Gemara that you're allowed to, or you should, lo'olam, like the Nefesh Hachaim says, you should learn Torah Shaloi Lishma, Torah Shaloi Lishma Ba Lishma. So, what seems to be clear in history is that it's Yitzchak, who's out here. He sent me this is a marshal. He sent me a little video clip of the Rosh Yeshiva speaking with the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Long conversation, like they had like a 10-minute conversation in the hall. Like it wasn't just getting $1. And this fellow came to ask the Rebbe why Lubavitchers don't sleep in the sukkah. That was his. And I know a little bit about the Lubavitcher Rebbe, but I never saw this. He actually got angry. The chutzpah, are you questioning the Baal HaTanya? Are you questioning the Tzemach Tzedek and the Rebbe Rashab and even the Reb Chaim Volozhin, who never, as he said, quote, didn't learn in Taipchei Tzimimim, but he was very, very close with the Rebbe Rashab and the Frierdiker Rebbe, and nobody ever questioned the Tzemach Tzedek and Halacha, and even the Aruch HaShulchan was held that he was the Gadol Ador, and he's going on and on and on about the chutzpah to question Gedolei Ador, and together went and he said at Bechlal, he said there's the Nefesh Hachaim. So Rabbi said, the Nefesh Hachaim and the Reb Chaim Volozhin and the Baal HaTanya and were at perfect peace. There was no issue at all. It's all a made-up issue. There's no such thing, and we're all holding the same thing. And they went to do Divrei Mitzvah together, and they were Ava, and not just for the Nefesh Hachaim, but also Reb Itzel, Reb Nefesh Hachaim's son, was the same time as the Rebbe Rashab, I think, and they were also very close friends. And Mapito making a whole big machlekes. This is what he's telling this poor guy. You just ask why you don't sleep in a sukkah. But it was interesting. It was pretty fascinating. I never saw him get like angry. But what was fascinating was that he says, after he goes on this whole thing that there's no machlekes between the Nefesh Hachaim and the Balatanya, he goes out along. He goes and says that the Rebbe said that, and you should know that, you know, when the way you're coming at it means you're learning Torah Shaloi Lishma, and Torah Shaloi Lishma has no value at all. He says it's better that you shouldn't learn. This is telling the guy, better you should learn. Now, to be fair, I didn't. You know, couldn't hear what the other guy said. You just hear what he said. But better off, mutav lo shaloi livra, and you know, everybody who's like you and learns Torah shaloi lishma should just stop learning. He goes this whole thing. So here he just gave a whole drasha about how there's no difference in Nefesh Hachaim. There's the difference. Here is the difference. The difference is clear right on. But I just wanted to point it out as a mashal that as much no machlekes, there is a machlekes. The pashtus is there is a machlekes because and the pashtus is with the, if I'm allowed to say, the pashtus is with the Hasidim. What do you mean shaloi lishma? You're doing things okay as an exercise, as a good habit, as maybe a way of getting to lishma, but to give any kind of virtue and to extol Torah shaloi lishma is wrong, and the Shaloi Lishma itself has to be with a lot of different conditions. So comes the Nefesh Hachaim in Perakim, and he says the following. And I'm just going to say it out loud because we really did it inside already. But at the end of Perakim,
it is true that certain are connected.
yeah. Yeah, the question is a good question, right?
Is there an answer?
His answer was, you don't question Gedolim. That was the only answer he did. And in fact, the fellow was a bit of an action, and he said, I'm chazering over the video you sent me.
Okay. So what?
But the maskana was that the whole point of the Rebbe, Olav Shalom, was that there was no machlekes Nefesh Hachaim, but then he said, and B'chlal, you that learn Shaloi Lishma, it's better that you don't learn people like you, and it's this whole thing is Shaloi Lishma. So that is the machlekes, Hagufa machlekes. It was a stira b'nei ubei.
Are we saying that Shaloi Lishma because you bring to Lishma, or there's still some?
So this is very, very right.
Or we're still getting mitzvah, but
I don't know. You can make a birchas hatera on Torah Shaloi Lishma. That's halacha. Let's learn together the last paragraph of Gimel. V'gam im nira shekol yemei chayim ilu'ura vad zikna v'seva haya iskay ba shaloi lishma. Let's say your whole life, from the time you're a child until the time you're old, haya iska ba shaloi lishma, your Torah was shaloi lishma. Gam atachayiv linoig by covered, you have to give. Not you, but him. You have to give him kavod. Talmid Chacham learned his whole life shaloi lishma, chayiv linoig by kavod. But kol shekain shaloi levazoisei chas v'shalom. Shekivet she'asak b'teres Hashem b'tzmidus, since he's always learning teres Hashem, bilti safek, and here is the chap. I believe this is the line. Bilti safek, there's no question. Shehaya kavanasei pamim rabbis gam lishma. So and here's where I think what he's saying on a mature level. You see, when you learn the superficial pshat, you say, okay, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, all the way up into 10th grade, I'm learning Shaloi Lishma. 10th grade, we start to teach Lishma. But when you're an adult, learn Lishma, Shaloi Lishma, Ba Lishma. He's saying there's a whole different pshat. Let me talk to him. He's saying this is not what we're talking about. There's a thing called. It took me a long time to. I had to be sick for 2 weeks to understand this. There's a thing called life, and life has its ups, it has its downs, and it's not a black and white situation, and a person has to be osek, let's say in terms of the mitzvah of being osek b'Torah. So you're osek b'Torah, and you'll have good days and bad days and lishma moments within the hour, or within the day, within the week. You'll have a lishma moment, and you'll have many shaloi lishma moments. But that's the chefza shel mitzvah. That in itself is the chefza shel mitzvah. In other words, like, let's lose. You hear it's a nuance here. Let's lose the idea that, okay, today I'm going to learn Torah Shalai Lishma, I'm doing it for kavod, I'm doing it for money, and eventually I'll come to Lishma. No. I mean, that might be true on some level, but I think that, I don't think he's learning that that's not what the Gemara means. What the Gemara means is that efshar, that in my Shalai Lishma, there's not some Lishma here. And by whom is that not true? You know, I'm sitting here learning Torah with you. Is it Lishma or Shalai Lishma? Combination. I clearly a Taruvais, but to make everything black and white is what's going to happen is you fall into, and this is what he goes on to explain. It's not that you're going to learn Shalai Lishma, and from that's going to come to Lishma. Until you get to the point of only Lishma. But the pshat rather is, that if a person, let's say, takes upon himself to learn Torah for a few hours straight. Why do I say let's say? Because this is also true with mitzvahs. This is just an example. Okay, I'm learning, I'm supposed to learn. I'll get in trouble if I don't learn. My wife will be upset with me if I don't learn. Whatever my Shaloi Lishma is. Ib calls that. With all of that, Bilti Efsher Klal Shaloi Yikanes Bali by Bab Sali, but I'll call one of his Zman Moed, Kavana, Ritzuya Lishma. Ultimately, there will be a Lishma moment in there. Of course there will be. Ubeata, so now this is a Gewalt. Kol Bashalamad Adhena Shaloi Lishma. Now, everything that you've learned until now, Shaloi Lishma, Niskadesh v'netayir al yedei oiso eis kan shekivan ba Lishma. This sounds like magic. Like, okay, I'm learning Shaloi Lishma for a week straight, and now I have a Lishma moment, and somehow that's matir l'mafreya, all of the different learning that I'm doing. Oh, so why do you need it, first of all? And I'll tell you, because he's saying a Gevaldik Chiddush. That it's why should it be Miskadesh L'Mafreya? And he doesn't say L'Mafreya, but that's what it sounds. It sounds like a Lumdisha thing. Pirush HaDvar is that, like the Gemara talks in Yavamas over and over again, there's such a thing as Mitzvasei Bakach. The way to learn Torah is, this is his Chiddush here, the way to learn Torah is Lishma Shalai Lishma Lishma Shalai Lishma. It's like, I always give the example of you tell somebody, go in front of my car, tell me if my blinker is working. So he says, yeah, it's working. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Like, that's a blinker. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to go on, it's supposed to go off. If it wasn't doing that, it wouldn't be a blinker. What he's saying, a chiddush that he's saying here is that we're humans. And the human, maybe there are such a thing as tzaddikim, grace and tzaddikim, that every moment is lishma. But we're not all meant to be the gra or the chayzim elublin or something like that. The simple mitzvah for a simple bar mitzvah boy to learn Torah cannot be that it has to be only lishma. How could it be? It can't be such a thing that a 13-year-old is chayim such a thing. Elamai, you have to learn Torah. And the blinker here is that in that limud Torah you're going to have lishma moments and shalom lishma moments, and that's that combination. Not that it's matir l'mafreya. You heard? It's not that it's matir l'mafreya. I mean, that is the chiyuv of limud Torah. That there's a lichtendam shalom lishma. It's such a beautiful lumdish thing that he's saying here that I just don't want to be mezalzel in it by saying that somehow or another when you get to this point, bingo, it all goes backwards. No, when you'll get to that point. And Kozman, you're not at that point, it doesn't make any difference because it's all one libud haTorah, kachi darkashal Torah for the rest of us, for normal human beings. Now, let me just tell take it aside here for a second. You see, in the world of, you know more about this than I do, but just as an example, say a person is a perfectionist. So it's not a baila necessarily, it could be a chasar. Because if you're a perfectionist, I'm familiar with this because I have a little bit of it. If you're a perfectionist, so let's say, you've taken out a new diet and, not going to eat any sugar. And then, you couldn't hold yourself back, so you ate a little bit of sugar. So what does the perfectionist do? All right, I may as well finish the donut.
Game's over.
The game's over. What does a smart person do? Or what's the correct thing to do? Okay, Misha achal shum. Like I ate some sugar, so I still shouldn't eat sugar, right? I mean, it's like a lot is worse than a little. As an example. But if you're in an all or nothing game, you're in a very, very dangerous game because there's very, very few people in the world, if any, that could go for the all. That could go for broke. There's very little perfect in Olam Hazeh. So this probably is, if that's his nakuda, so now let's go re-examine again. So is there a machlokas? Everybody agrees that there's supposed to be some lishma. Everybody l'chayr agrees shaloi lishma ba lishma. Probably the machlokes is, do you say that it goes back l'mafreya kilu and it's makadosh the whole thing when you learn a moment of lishma? So let's say, I'm just saying this to make seder. I'm not saying it because making any politics. But let's say the Hasidic point of view is, look, you need that moment of lishma, and until you get there, you've done nothing. Okay, shaloi lishma ba lishma. And the chinuch, the ikar chinuch has to be put on that gartel and that hat and say the hirats and the l'shem yichuds and learn Torah. They do it pretty well, but the ikar is to come to the union of kedusha v'tara. It's not a bad thing. I'm not criticizing. It's a good thing, but there's another. That's one side. Another mahalach is don't even think about it. Don't even worry about it. As long as you're ikar life, why am I learning Torah? I'm learning Torah because I'm a from Jew. And that's what I'm supposed to do. But if we were that kind of perfectionists, you see, I made this point many, many times, and I believe it to be 1,000,000% true. Hashem's given truth that every one of us right now is learning Lishma. Is there a little bit of Shaloi Lishma mixed into it? Sure, every one of us has a little bit of Shaloi Lishma mixed into it. But every one of us has a lishma, and that's the ironically that's the chiddush of the Nefesh Hachaim, that we're all good. And if you're going to come and say, well, I'm not really it, I'm not really, which usually is attributed to the more Muslims, like I'm not really there, I'm not really the lishmanik. What am I doing? I'm doing nothing. My actions are worthless, and you won't do anything. You won't do anything. So what the argument here is to be normal. Let's be normal and kachi darka shel Torah. Kachi darka shel Torah. That's gufa. The ups and downs is all part of it.
How are we defining Lishma?
Doing it because Hashem wants me to. That's what it means. No, it's not for anything, but I'm doing it because Hashem wants me to do.
In Torah, we're saying lasok v'divrei Torah. It doesn't say lishma. I just have to be busy doing it.
That's right.
So I don't need it lishma or lo lishma.
That's right. That's what I said. You can make a birchas on Torah shaloi lishma. Why? Because that's part of the game. That's all part of
I'm
it.
saying there's no lishma in that.
Right. That's right. Right. That's, or if you get a geschmack in learning, is that like a terrible thing? like you have an intellectual love of learning. I was thinking, life in general, we have good moments, we have bad moments, we have good days, we have bad days, you have tragedies, we have simchas. So, people, there's a tendency to think that, today life was not worth living, and 3 days ago was a good day, and that's worth living. And Chazal, Sheva Yipol Tzadik V'Kam, life is not if the line goes straight on your cardiac, isn't this good? Like, the up and down is, the up and down, so it's not that we tolerate the bad days because the bad days will bring to the good days, and it's nothing like that. That's the hefza of Chaim. That is the hefza of the thing. It's also because Chaim is an up and down situation. That's the blinker.
Every month on Chaz HaChodesh, we mention Yirat Shamayim, Yirat Chet. There's an element of Lo Lishma. If I'm doing a mitzvah because of Yirat Chet, I'm afraid of getting a punishment, so it sounds like it's Lo Lishma.
A high low. It's a high low lishma.
Exactly. But I'm doing it for an ulterior motive,
Right.
which is to avoid punishment. Or I'm doing it because I'll get sachar in Olam Haba.
Right.
That's Tzelo Lishma. But Hashem promises us that
Agree.
for doing the right thing, we're going to get sachar.
Yeah.
So it's built in to the actual act of doing a mitzvah.
Yasher koyach. Could be a medayik further. We're not asking in the Birchas HaChodesh for Yiras Chet. We're asking for a Chaim sheyesh b'hem Yiras Shamayim Yiras Chet. It's very interesting. I know the Birchas HaChodesh well because I'm the one. I do it every week. So pay attention. Chaim sheyesh b'hem Yiras Shamayim Yiras Chet. What does it mean? Chaim means the taich means an environment. There's a general environment of people are keeping mitzvahs, and you don't want to be in an environment of mufkar. So it's even deeper than that. It's not even that. That's life. Chaim Shem Yeshua.
So that it's Mekadesh, the Shalol Lishma. So did we clarify that?
Absolutely.
It's not Lo Mafreya, but is it that now I have access to that Torah, so it's Mekadesh? So now that I'm Lishma,
No, but you're not hearing me.
I have it, or
I'm saying.
or the back and forth.
I'll go back to my silly mashal. When the blinker is not lit up, is it working any less than when it is lit up? That's a blinker. It's supposed to be on. It's supposed to be off.
So it's Mekadesh because it's part of learning.
It's part of it. That's all. That's part of it. And life is Mekadesh because it's part of it. And life has its ups and downs in Ruchnius, and it has its ups and downs in Gashmius. And it's the limud here, and that's why I'm so emphasizing it, is it's not a black and white thing. If you have a tendency to black and white, then try to get rid of that. That's an avodah to get rid of it, because the black and white is not the derech of the Torah. At least we're learning in the Nefesh Hachaim. By the way, I don't know that anybody would argue with what I'm saying. In other words, if I'm not from the big rebbes or the big Rosh Yeshivas, but if they would sit down, I think everybody would be basket. But the Shalei Lishma Ba Lishma is all one big gray, as opposed to boom, 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 up. Like,
Could that be the deal in last soak?
as opposed to the Balatanya, you mean?
No, because last soak means this is what I'm doing all the time, and it'll have ups and downs in it. It's a life of last soak.
ASIC.
ASIC.
He doesn't say it. Al divrei Torah. According to the Balatanya, you're not supposed to say last of divrei Torah. You say Asher Kishanu V'Sesavit Tzivanu Al divrei Torah, which is Gufa the Machlekes. I tell you, years and years ago, I went to visit a very, very wealthy businessman, like a billionaire, was trying to build something for a change. Didn't work for a change. But he said to me, I was talking conversation, I said something I probably in a respectful way. I said, like, is business going well? So he said to me, look, he says, I'm here all day. I'm all night. I take it home with me. I'm always working. He says, but I do business once a month. like once a month, so there comes, and it's not necessarily, he was Madgish this point, and it's not necessarily a result of anything that I did on the other 29 days of the month. But you do business, you're always lasik b'divrei Torah, and then big every once in a while you hit the jackpot and it works. It always stuck in my mind. You do business once a month, and you learn Torah, you'll get a Lishma moment once a month. But Nefesh Hachaim is this is what it was in Perakim, which I want to get a start on. However, if you take the other way, and this is again, that you'll end up not learning Torah at all. If you take the other side of the coin, where Lishma, or nothing, then you won't learn. What are you going to learn? Okay, I'm not in the Lishma mood. I had one more mashal that according to the dinim of the Nevi'im, Bilagin Nevi'im, Yeshayahu, Hanavi, if you can't daven, tefillah, if you can't daven with kavanah, you shouldn't daven. Yeshayahu says before, it's brought in Shulchan Aruch, by the way. Laba li roiv zivchechem amar Hashem. What do I need your lip service for? Yeshayahu goes on and on about lip service that people give, and it's meaningless to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what Shulchan Aruch says. Comes the Mishnah Berurah, and he says, whoa. He says, if we're going to go with that mahalach, we're never going to daven. It's a good davening day. It's a bad davening day. It's not just because the Yetzer Hara is going to take the path of least resistance, but because when are we ever holding by a good, okay, right now I'm really Kol Nidre, maybe, So the pshat is, says the Mishnah Berurah, that was talking about making pretend you're davening when you're not davening as a lifestyle. That's what he says in the Bir Halacha. Different thing that people wanted to, like in the time of Yoshiyahu HaMelech, people were faking that they were frum and they weren't frum in order for political reasons. He says, but the way we are, this is the Chafetz Chaim is Meirich in this in one of his other Choymes Hadas, one of his other Sfar. He says the way we live, of course, we're davening with kavanah. Can we daven every davening with kavanah? Can we say every word with kavanah? We're not holding back. There's too many tzaras hagalos. He goes on Choymes Hadas. It's not something we can do. But it doesn't. The minute one's going to say, "Can't daven with kavanah," I'm not davening now. There is such a thing, by the way. If I'm so tarud that I can't daven, so wait. But as a lifestyle, for sure not.
The point you made earlier about having that moment of the Shema, in a sense rationalizing or justifying the earlier moments of no Lishma. So you excuse me for the analogy from the world of baseball. You're up at the bottom of the ninth, you swing twice, and you miss twice. But on the third pitch, you hit a 3-run home run and you win the ball. So at the scorer's table, the at-bat is listed as a 3-run home.
Listed as a?
What?
What's it? Oh.
So
Not the things you
you
miss.
did swing and miss twice, but you hit a home run. In other words, it became an integral part of the at-bat.
So it works a little
And-
bit freya,
and-
you're
and
saying?
in the summation of the at-bat, you hit a home run.
That's right. Summation. Next related issue, let's just do a couple of lines here, Parag
It's the total ASIC.
Huh?
The total ASIC.
Yeah. Last sake, with the
And what's the Balatana's Girsa is?
What?
Balatana's Girsa.
Al Divrei Torah.
And his Kapeda is...
By the way, this machlekes, our nusach and the nusach of the Balatanya is whether you say lasik b'divrei Torah or al divrei Torah has so many ramifications. It's a first of all, do you have to speak Torah? But it's all the same machlekes. It's all the same issue. Do you have to speak Torah? Do you have to understand Torah? We're Bezos Hashem learning in the night kollel, Hilchos Kriyas HaTorah. That's the whole issue is do you need Kriyas HaTorah? Do you need Shmiyas HaTorah? But it's all the same thing. Is this my general lifestyle learning Torah, Shmiyas HaTorah, or is it there's this mitzvah to zagen? Let's go a little further because it becomes only clear. V'kama zehirus yiseira tzarech ha'adam lizar binyanim ke'elu. The Yanim Kehillah that he's referring to is to learn, be careful to learn Shaloi Lishma, not to worry about this. Ukiyotze behem. Ukvar Abu Rabbi Seinu Zal, the famous Gemara in Sukkot and Beis Amud Aleph, Kol gadol bechaveroi yitzrei gadol imanu. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Kol gadol bechaveroi yitzrei gadol imanu. I want to, it's very important for me to explain something here. What does Hebenu mean, first of all? Huh? Kol HaGadol Bechaveroi, Yitzrei Gadol, Heimenu.
Then the
What is
Yetzer
Bibelu
of,
what?
then
What
the
is
Yet-
it? What's the translation? Bibelu, Heimenu.
then the Yetzer of that other person.
Better than the person
Another
himself.
guy.
Then his. Then the
Amen.
other
It's
person's.
himself.
Kol HaGadol Bechaveroi, so Yitzrei Gadol, then his, then the other guys. Chaveros Yetzirah. Again, I'm having an.
This Yitzhak is commensurate with his guidance.
I just want to, again, I want to describe a nuance here, which is, again, a little bit iconoclastic. We're grown up to think, and I think the sooner we get rid of this notion, the better. The sooner we get rid of this, the better. We're grown up to think, we're taught in Cheder to think that the Yetzer Hara is kind of like out to get you. And the bigger I become, you get it, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu assigns a stronger malach to get you. So, and perhaps the way that can be understood is because that way your bechira is always an even keel. There's a machlekes mamish in the Rishonim in Sukkah here. What does that mean? Does that mean that Rav Steinman has a bigger taivati treif than a non-from Jew? I mean, is that what it means? Huh?
It's hard to speak disrespectful. Somebody else is.
I ask you a question. Rav Steinman had a bigger Yitzhar to eat marshmallows with triangle K than you do? That's a bigger
What
Yitzhar.
does it mean for his level?
Or does it mean some kind of a dakus on
his,
He has a bigger capacity to rationalize.
So everybody has this all thought out. I want to just caution you, or just for the next 2 minutes, just leave everything you know about this subject, because I know everybody is, let Chazal speak to us over here. Hear me. I don't think that, okay, little guy, I start doing mitzvahs, I have a little Yetzer Hara, I get more into the mitzvahs and Torah, I have now a bigger cheshek or taiva. Machlekes Rishonim, again, the Machlekes Rishonim means I have a bigger Yetzer Hara than the small guy, or does it mean that my Yetzer Hara grows kilu, like the bar on a guitar, just keeps on going to a different place. But the bigger the tzaddik is, the bigger the Yetzer Hara is. That's a machlekes rishonim. I would like to suggest that neither one are true. That's not what Chazal mean. I don't think kol hagadol bechaveroi, it doesn't mean a bigger tzaddik, or a bigger Talmud Chacham, or a bigger Rebbe. I don't think that's what it means. That doesn't mean a gadol as we use it in the vernacular today. I don't think that's what it means. There are big people and there are small people. According to Chazal, Esav was a bigger person than Yaakov. And hence he had a bigger Yetzer Hara. It wasn't because he grew in Ruchniya so high, and now HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs to challenge him with, raise, not you don't raise the bar, you lower the bar. What do you do when you're doing that dance, You lower the bar, lower. Huh? The limbo. Okay, or heavyweight championships, lightweight championships. No, that's not. There are, the way Hashem created people, I mean, it's even hard to say this, but I believe that it's true. There are people that are gedolim, they could be goyim. Not talking about. There are people that are mediocre people. And if a person is, if you have a child, or if you are a person that's innately has an extreme sensitivity to things and is very, very bright, or the kid is a gadol, even if they didn't do anything, the kid is a gadol, you have to know that with all that talent comes big Yetzer Hara also. Because that's the whole God's kind of a person, that there's a Yetzer Hara, there's a Yetzer Atov. That's okay, the intricacies of the makeup of the person are such that there's a lot of things functioning in there, but you have to know that together with godless comes katnus or ra. It's I'll just give you an example for this chinuchi, I think. If you teach at a school, you're a rabbi, right? If you teach at a school, so there's the good kids, there's the bad kids. The good kids are the ones that are paying attention, raising their hands, and taking notes, and know all the answers to get everything right on the test. That's the good kids. Bad kids are at best doodling or not paying attention or even being mazik. And you need to separate them. Some, nowadays the answer is don't even take in the other kids. Okay, I understand everything. They're hard. If you think about it, that if you see a kid with a big Yetzer Hara, he's thinking about everything. He's all over the place. His interests are extremely wide, way beyond the Gemara. So let's take the reverse. If you see somebody who's Yitzrei Gadol B'Meno, you can know that he's Gadol B'Chaver. Let's flip the Chazal. And I believe, by the way, as a father of 11, that it's 100% true. It's 100% true that I'm just changing the Chazal for you. Kol sheyitzrei gadol hebeno, so he's gadol b'chaverei. It has to be. Now, is it easy to teach this person? No. Will you necessarily have success with this person? Maybe not, because who knows how to teach him? And it's a hit and miss. But what Chazal are saying is the yisoid. In Yiddish there's an expression that kleine Kinder, kleine Tzares, große Kinder, große Tzares. I'm sure everybody gets the Yiddish, right? The bigger the person, obviously there's more to it, and you're going to see a possibility of Aveira, but also a possibility of Yetzer Hara is not just Aveira. Yetzer Hara is also ambition and curiosity and all the things that are squashed. I'm not giving here a shmooze on chinuch for Rabbeim, although it's important to know that it could be that dafka the children, for instance, that we're puzzling are the best ones. It could be look Yitzchak went for Esav, right? He wasn't looking for the good boy, if I'm permitted to say. Dafka, the ones that were sort of like marginalizing and saying, look, you're just a bad kid, are the gadol b'chaver. So what he kol gadol b'chaver yitzrei gadol heimenu is what the Nefesh Hachaim is going to say. I'm going to leave it to learn inside for Sunday, but what he's saying is that if we look at the concept, don't take it superficially. Understand that an Adam Gadol, meaning a great person, a person with potential, a person with a very wide talents. I remember that when I was a yeshiva bacher, so I used to go to Shiurim every day with Tzvi Kushlevsky. So it was a tkufa. I learned with him a chavrusa. He picked a chavrusa and went to a shir. And the best fellow in the shir, if it's sick, he should be gesund, this fellow, but by far the best one of the shir. So the whole shir, he was like doodling and would make the like the wildest pictures, and it didn't just like with his pen. It was like a whole kolas moisai temarna, like it was a whole, and obviously, it looks like he's not listening. Like you get like you're involved. Here's one of the most difficult shiurim and one of the most high-level shiurim in Yerushalayim at that time, and he's doodling. So I remember Tzvi Kushlevsky used to try to So he would ask him in the middle, what do you say Yitzchak? Like, what's the rush? What does the rush hold? He always knew exactly. So,
Rabbi.
huh?
The Bavitch Rabbi and the Sarban.
Yeah. So the other way around. No, the Tzvi Kushalevsky once said that this guy himself was Masbir, that there's the right brain. This kid was Masbir. There's a right brain, there's a left brain. Part of me wants to learn, and part of me wants to draw or whatever, be creative. And the part of me that wants to be creative, if it's not drawing, it's going to go into Never Land. So like this, I have that focus and this focus. That was his Hesber on himself, his self-analysis of the situation. Meantime, he knows how to learn, and today he's Gadol B'Torah. But Tzvi Kushalevsky once said that, the best people in this Shiur know how to learn. He knows how to learn and how to draw. There's two parts to his brain that can work. So that's the Gadol Bechaveroi. And Yitzray is the side of him which might cause him to wander off to another place, but Be'etzem, that's the godless of the shleimus of this person. So that's the taich of Kol HaGadol Bechaver Yitzray Gadol B'Manu. So I just want to before I just take a Shabbos, want to just summarize and join these two things. We talked about two things today. Point one: what is Shaloi Lishma? And I think what we're being taught here is to look at Shaloi Lishma as a beautiful tapestry of learning and mitzvahs and of life in general. Just like the body needs some bacteria to live, the absolute purity is not what it's all about. That's not the way Hashem created us. That way, and you need the combination. Point two, which is not a dissimilar point, but an adjunct point, is that the very fact that there's a Shaloi Lishma here, the very fact that there's some kind of a distraction here, or a sort of like looking out of the book, kind of a feeling, that's Gufa Gadol Bechavere. Kol Gadol Bechavere, Yitzray Gadol B'Manu. The Yetzer is Meira on the godless of the person. So if that's so, the Shaloi Lishma is Mesukin L'Mafreya. Because the Shaloi Lishma is Gufa, the godless of the person. It's a Tikkun L'Mafreya. So it's not a Pella, Love the Shapella that he said. It's the simple check. Shabbat Shalom U'Barach.